Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Recently, we blew through the 1 million download mark. Now, we're staring another milestone directly in its face. Come October 1st, that will mark 365 straight days with at least one new segment produced here on the Jeffrey Epstein Show. That, my friends, is called embracing the grind. Every single day, rain, sleet, snow or shine, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, my birthday, or a pandemic, it does not matter. Come October 1st, that will be one straight year here with you folks every single day talking about this case. It has been one wild-ass year, folks. What a crazy ride this has been. From having no hope of people ever being brought to justice in this case, to where we are now, where some of the most high-profile people in the world have been browbeat into retirement, and Ghislaine Maxwell rots away in a jail cell. If it wasn't for the pressure that all of you folks put on these people and for all of the publicity you've brought to this story, we would be nowhere close to where we are now, and these survivors would still be being ignored. So I think all of you should give yourselves a pat on the back, because at the end of the day, like I always say, it's not me, it's we, all of us together, working towards one goal, and that is justice. You see, I'm not like other people where I'm demanding people dragged out of their house, no trials, and just convicted by the press. That's not what I'm going for here. I want full trials. I want everybody to get their chance to have their say, and then when all of the evidence is presented and these scumbags are eventually found guilty, I want them to suffer the worst criminal penalties that are on the books. I want the justice system to work correctly. I know that's a pie-in-the-sky want, but if we don't demand it and we don't elect people that are going to move towards that, then we have ourselves to blame, and I don't want to hear anyone else bitching and moaning about it. It is up to us, folks. We hold the power, not them. We need to remember that. And what this case is showing me for sure is that when people get together, when good people get together to stop evil in the world, and they refuse to be silenced, they refuse to shut up, they refuse to back down, then even the most powerful people in the world can be shook off of their perch. Our article today is from The Sun, and the headline, Hidden Haunt. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell use secret woodland lair and boarding school grounds to target pupils. Author Christy Cooney. And we've seen this, right? We've seen Jeffrey Epstein have an office at Harvard. Who knows where else he had an office? They were donating money to a Lithuanian ballet, donating money here, donating money to this troupe, that troupe, this theater group. Anywhere where there were young teenage girls, Jeffrey Epstein was donating money. Pretty obvious at this point. The late financier, pedophile, was a donor to the Interlochen Center for the Arts in Michigan, and in 1994 provided funds for the Jeffrey Epstein Scholarship Lodge within its grounds. And we know that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were involved up in Michigan, and that there is the allegations from the girl who went to Interlochen. So, how in the hell was this guy able to have this lodge? Why would this school take money from this man? And another question is, even though this money was taken previously, years ago, Have they donated this money to a charity? Have they reached out to the survivors and said, hey, look, we want to put this money to good use that we got from Jeffrey Epstein. Where should we park it? No, none of that happens. What they do is they just try and donate the money wherever they decide they want to donate it. And they don't look for any input from the survivors or people who might have been affected by this. And I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think all of these companies, all of these organizations that received money from Epstein or his cronies, well, that money should have to be redirected to some sort of charity that has to do with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. The center is situated on a 1,200-acre campus in the state's northwest and attracts pupils from around the world to study music, theater, and arts. You know, this would be the perfect place for somebody like Jeffrey Epstein, huh? Bunch of young kids looking to become musicians or whatever have you from this school. And Jeffrey Epstein shows up as a patron, has a whole bunch of money, has all these contacts, knows all these people in, you know, all these different symphonies and orchestras and all these different powerful organizations around the world. And he shows up and decides, hey, I'm going to be your patron. I'm going to throw out some dough for you to, you know, chase your dreams. Oh, your mom needs some money? Oh, I'll take care of her too. And he used that money as a vehicle always to weasel his way into these people's lives and abuse these children. Epstein, who killed himself last year, allegedly, while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges, was a donor to the school between 1990 and 2003, and also held events for its alumni at his New York mansion. Well, isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? Well, how about the alumni from Interlochen all come on down to my house of horrors, and we have a dildo party in the bedroom? Really? Who would go to Jeffrey Epstein's mansion and not walk out of that place absolutely disgusted, or at the very least wondering what the hell sort of Hollywood horror house you just entered? I mean, chess pieces carved into the likeness of his employees, the eyeball wall, Bill Clinton in a dress. I mean, come on, folks. Who the hell would go to this guy's house and not think something was amiss? And donating from 1990 to all the way to 2003, 13 years? I wonder how much money Jeffrey Epstein poured into Interlochen, and I wonder how many young girls were abused in this facility or via this facility. The terms under which he funded the lodge are reported to have included an agreement that he could stay there for up to 2 weeks of each year. Why would Jeffrey Epstein need to do that? Why would he need to stay on this campus? Why would these people allow that? A grown-ass man who wants to stay on this campus full of kids? Well, that doesn't sit well with me. I don't understand why that would even occur. I don't understand how anybody could look at that proposal and be like, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's check off on this and let this gross-ass old man come to the campus and just, stay here for 2 weeks. For what reason would he need to stay there for 2 weeks? We're talking about a man who is so damn rich that he could fly in on his chopper, hang out for the day, and then fly to whatever hotel he wants. He needs to stay on this campus? No, he doesn't need to stay on this campus. His sick proclivities called for it. His disgusting mind wanted him to stay on this campus. He should not have ever been allowed to have access to these kids. His estate is now being sued for 19 million pounds by one woman known as Jane Doe, who alleges she was abused by him after meeting him at Interlochen, the Mirror reports. So I think when you have a situation like Interlochen or the New York Academy of Arts or any of these schools where these girls were groomed and abused by Epstein, I think that there needs to be a huge investigation into all of these places. All of these places. That goes for Mar-a-Lago as well. If Ghislaine Maxwell was trolling for girls down at Mar-a-Lago, then an encompassing investigation must occur. Any girls that were perhaps approached by Maxwell, etc., etc. It needs to be an all-out blitz because there are for sure, unnamed survivors and victims of the Jeffrey Epstein enterprise. Zero doubt in my mind, folks. Epstein's former girlfriend, co-conspirator, fellow child abuser, general all-around scumbag, and bipedal serpent, Ghislaine Maxwell is also named as a defendant in the suit. Maxwell is currently awaiting trial in New York on sex trafficking charges over her alleged role in Epstein's crimes, though she denies any wrongdoing. Jane Doe says she first encountered the pair in 1994 when she was 13 years old and a music student at the school. She says Epstein then subjected her to abuse over a period of 4 years at his homes in Palm Beach, New York, and New Mexico. All right, so you know what's coming here, right? The obligatory New Mexico rant. Why has Zorro Ranch not been raided yet? Why is there not a concurrent investigation going on in New Mexico when we know people were abused there? I think it's almost time for another trip down to Santa Fe. I think it's almost time to hop in the car, pack up my gear this time instead of flying, and drive down to Santa Fe and really get some information about what the hell is occurring. Because when I was there the last time, I couldn't get an answer from anybody as far as people in office or the DA's office or the Attorney General's office why there was not an investigation at Zorro Ranch as far as a raid, etc., etc. We have multiple girls who said that they were abused in Zorro Ranch, and yet it has still not been raided. Papers also allege that Maxwell regularly facilitated and was frequently present for the abuse. Now, we know that the charges against Maxwell are right in this time frame, so this is quite possibly one of the people who Maxwell is being charged criminally for abusing right now. This girl from Interlochen. A reference is also reportedly made to the cabin in Epstein's infamous Little Black Book, where it was listed as Michigan Home and Epstein's Lodge. That's sinister as F, huh? Epstein's Lodge, Epstein's Michigan Home, on this school's campus with all these young girls running around. This is where this predator has his home, and it's also notated in the Black Book. Boy, isn't that nice. The people who facilitated this at Interlochen, the school board, the trustees, all of these people should be fired, and they should never have a job around children ever again. The book is also said to contain the names of at least 2 former students of Interlochen. The school renamed the cabin and erased any acknowledgement of Epstein as a donor at the time of his initial conviction for sex offenses in 2008. Well, they can try and erase the history. They can try and erase their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, but we're not going to let that slide, right? This has to go into the catalog as a matter of fact. This has to go in the catalog as something that occurred, and Interlochen must be looked at under the microscope. Interlochen has previously said it has no record of any other use of the cabin by him beyond that 1 week in August of 2000. Well, okay, that's what you guys say, but you're not a reliable narrator, Interlochen, in this regard, and I doubt that that was the only time that Jeffrey Epstein was there. Do I have information or evidence to prove that? No, I don't. Speculation on my part, but, you know, where there's smoke. It also said it had no record of any complaint raised against Mr. Epstein at Interlochen, and that policies would not have permitted Mr. Epstein any unsupervised access to the students. I don't believe that for a second. When you have somebody who has as much money as Jeffrey Epstein, and he's throwing it around at your school and donating to your school, he's going to have some perks that regular visitors wouldn't. Another former Interlochen pupil, Melissa Solomon, has previously said that she spent 6 years as an associate of Epstein and Maxwell after meeting them at the school, though she has also said she was never subjected to any abuse. And that's not too odd, right? Epstein and Maxwell were very particular about the girls that they brought into the inner portion of the web. They weren't out here trying to just bring anybody in, right? They had to go through the grooming process, fit the bill, etc., etc. She said the pair cut ties with her after she refused to take part in an attempt to recruit underage girls from a New York school. There you go, right there. It was always something with Epstein and Maxwell, right? They never did anything out of the kindness of their heart. They never did anything to help somebody without helping themselves in return. And this is just another example, folks. This is just a little bit more meat on our sandwich, right? Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were serially abusing people on a regular basis for many, many years, decades, in fact. And all of these people, all of these school boards, all of these so-called intellectuals had no idea. I have a hard time believing that, and I know that most of you out there also have a hard time believing that. These people truly think that we're stupid. They think that whatever narrative they put out, we're just going to eat up. Well, they're wrong. This narrative that they've been spinning for years about, oh, we don't know anything, we weren't involved, we have no idea what occurred, it's not going to cut it anymore. And the deeper we get into this case and the more information that comes out, the more pressure will be put on people like the trustees at Interlochen to come forward and let the people know just exactly what was happening with Jeffrey Epstein. Because more people out there know. There are a lot more people out there that have information that have not come forward yet. And it is time for these people to be compelled to speak about what they know. If they don't want to come forward on their own, then they all must receive subpoenas. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. As for me, I will be back later on tonight after UFC. All right, everybody, enjoy your Saturday, please.